What's going on, anglers? D-Fish Keeper here. Today's just supposed to be a really chill day for fishing, and I'm going to try to use just one lure. I'm really not into using artificial lures when it comes to saltwater fishing. I usually use live bait, but my buddy swears by it, so we're going to go ahead and try this lure that he recommended out to me. He's right down there, so I'm going to go ahead and meet him and test our luck today. Got redfish? We just caught up to the homie, and he's already got a redfish on his line. Looking like today's gonna be a great day. Good start. It's a good start though. Well, here's the lure that we're going to be using today. This is the Vudu shrimp, and as you can see here, it is super cheap. If you like how it does today, I'll leave a link in the description and you can test it out for yourself. And off we go to the first spot. On the way to the fishing spot, we ran into this big guy right here. This was my first time coming into contact with a wild manatee. Minutes later, my buddy thought he had actually hooked into the manatee, but little did we know, he had hooked into something else. Minutes later, he pulls up what he was hooked into, and we realized that he wasn't hooked into the manatee, he was actually hooked into a fish that was stuck to the manatee. This is a remora. They're kind of like the pleco of saltwater. You've probably seen one before if you've ever watched a wildlife documentary. They're usually hooked up to the side of a whale, or even sharks at times. They look really weird when they come out of the water, but they're still pretty cool. After releasing the remora, we said goodbye to the sea cow, and went on about our day of trying to find the next biggest catch. A few minutes later, I ended up coming across a shallow oyster bed area. I seen a lot of bait fish running out in that direction, so I figured I'd cast out and test my luck.
Hey, I got a fish! Fish on! It looked like a red. Yeah, it's red, guys. Let's go. First fish on the artificial. First time.
I was super excited about landing my first saltwater fish on an artificial lure. This Vudu shrimp might not be so bad after all. We came across a spot that looked really familiar, and if you watched my first ever kayak fishing video, you know why. I figured I'd get out and stop around and explore the island a little bit. That's when I found this pop cork, which is going to prove really helpful later on. I knew this place was familiar. This is the exact spot that I had flipped my kayak over about 5 months ago in the middle of a storm. The tide was low enough for wade fishing, but it didn't look too promising.
Marcellus on the track.
Figured I'd go to this shallow area. This is pretty much my go-to when it comes to looking for redfish. This time the bite was taking just a little bit longer. At this point I was really thinking about trying to go to different spots to see if I can catch some different species.
Fish on, guys. Fish on. Let's get him in. Finally, a fish. Ooh, this guy's kind of big. Oh, he's fighting. Yeah, he's fighting. Alright, man.
So this guy marks fish number 2 on the Vudu shrimp. This lure's doing pretty good.
No, he's not big. Water just made him look big. Redfish number 2. Doesn't look any bigger than the first guy.
Off he goes. After finding that pop cork on that island, I thought about it and figured, hey, why not add the voodoo shrimp to the pop cork? Double whammy. Didn't take long before I was hooked up, but this time it looked like a different species.
Oh man, that sucks.
Marcellus on the track.
So the mystery fish ended up coming back. It turned out to be a spotted sea trout. This was my first time catching this species. This seemed to be a high traffic spot for the fish. There was action going on all around us. Having the voodoo shrimp paired up with the pop cork and with the right flick of the wrist, I had fish on my hook in no time.
Fish on. Alright guys, got another fish. Hopefully this guy's full. Feels bigger. Yeah, it's a lot bigger, okay. Yeah, buddy. Oh, snap.
Sea trout are one of the many saltwater fish that have really sharp teeth, so it's always great to take caution when removing hooks. What a beauty.
Hey, I got a fish. Oh, let's go. I don't know, I think so. That was pretty quick.
I wasn't expecting to pull a fish right off rip, but that's what you can expect when you're using one of these voodoo shrimp.
Yeah, it's a ladyfish.
Well, this is different. This is the ladyfish, also known as the poor man's tarpon. After catching that, I decided to bring it back into the shore just to do a little wade fishing because my butt was starting to hurt from sitting on that kayak seat. I really need to start doing some mods to this thing. After 15 minutes of fishing and no fish to show other than this hermit crab, I gave up on the fishing and decided to go in and call it a day. We had a long ways ahead of us, but that wasn't too big of a deal. Especially when you got a buddy who's got a Hobie. I just grab onto the side and side cart my way back onto the parking lot. We decided to keep our catch for that day. The reason you see 6 fish instead of 5, which is the limit, is because I didn't have a stringer and I used my buddy's stringer because I didn't bring one at the moment. After a day's worth of fishing the waters of the Gulf, I could definitely say that the voodoo shrimp is a great lure. You definitely get the best bang for your buck out of this lure. I got snagged up on some oyster beds a couple times in between the video clips that were filmed, and it came up great, and it still came up in one piece. I used the one lure for the entire video, came out with 2 new species, a whole lot of fish, and really had a great day. But anyways guys, that's it for today's video. If you like my content, please subscribe. Please leave a comment on how you think we did on the video. But anyways guys, this is D Fish Keeper, and as always, thanks for watching.